Guys, what I'm about to tell you is about to shatter your perspective of Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, you won't be able to look at the series correctly again. Yes, you heard me correctly. I have found groundbreaking discovery within this series that I'm about to tell you guys in 10 seconds. But in order for you guys to hear this, you guys have to hit like and subscribe, and you have to watch the entire video, bro. I ain't playing. What is this groundbreaking discovery, you ask? Have you ever wondered why Gregory from Security Breach was able to survive all those nights without eating once? Well, it is because he's a robot.
Oh my god, bro.
Nah, I'm trolling. But anyways, guys, hit like and subscribe on this video, and make sure you guys stay tuned for the entire video. I love all of y'all, and let's get straight into this shit. So I think it comes to no surprise that the best rated Five Nights at Freddy's game is Help Wanted. And from the thumbnail of this video, you guys would see that this is the best rated, and I'm keeping the worst rated a secret, and no, it's not the game that you guys are thinking right now. But a lot of people don't give props to this game as much as it really deserves. I mean, there's no other immersive experience that has stuck so dear to the original concept of Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, when looking at these newer games like Secret of the Mimic, like Security Breach, it really isn't the original intention of Five Nights at Freddy's. Obviously, Steelwool has pivoted the series to something else, something completely different, more of a Poppy's Playtime type of copy of a game. But when looking back at Help Wanted, it's stuck dear to its original concept because it quite literally is just remakes of the original games in the VR format. And there's something about seeing a 6'3", 6'5" animatronic right in front of you in VR. Like, it genuinely feels like you're in the experience. Not to mention, when we first started playing Five Nights at Freddy's, who would have imagined that we would be able to play these games within VR? It's almost like Five Nights at Freddy's was intended to be played in VR. Like, I swear, Scott Cawthon was in the lab making a perfect game to be incorporated into VR. And this is not just me saying this. I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted in 2019, the very first one, is often cited as a high point in the franchise, specifically for how it redefined the series horror through virtual reality. As of 2026, it remains one of the most highly rated entries across platforms like IMDb and Metacritic, with critics calling it a masterclass in suspense. And before going into what I personally enjoy about it, a majority of critics highlight that the transition to VR made the animatronics feel intimidatingly huge, like I said earlier, creating a sense of scale and presence impossible in original 2D games. The use of spatial audio and detailed lighting significantly enhances the dread and anxiety between jump scares. It also acts as a high quality remake of the first three original games, plus sections of Sister Location and FNAF 4, all rebuilt from the ground up with 3D graphics. This offers a massive value for both new players and longtime fans. There was also some unique VR gameplay that was unique to this game. New modes like parts and service, performing delicate maintenance on animatronics, and event repair are frequently praised for being nerve-wracking, as a single physical mistake leads to an immediate up-close jump scare by one of these scary-ass robots. Of course, this isn't a FNAF game without some deep lore, as there was a lot of deep lore integration. This game introduced a very new narrative era via hidden tapes and coins featuring the antagonist Glitch Trap.
I couldn't see his face. He had the visor covering his head.
Fans enjoy how these collectibles tie into a larger mystery about the fictional Fazbear Entertainment trying to cover up its past. And of course, this is mixed received, and I think, you know, right now I can go into more of the lore. In the original Help Wanted, it was a lot more well received back in the day because it was more true to its nature of Five Nights at Freddy's, and we weren't just handed the answers like we are in the newer games. And the series seriously needed a reboot. I mean, we had just got off FNAF World, UCN. Where do we go from here? And I think Help Wanted was the perfect way to launch Five Nights at Freddy's into mega corporation status, into mega IP status, because I mean, what's left is there to do in the story? The story has already ended. So how about we just flip the story upside down and start these new games incorporating the old games and making a much scarier version of the old games within VR? You know, staying true to the series but still incorporating something new. To this day, I think FNAF would be one of the best horror franchises of all time, if it isn't already. But I think these later games has completely ruined its image. and it's stardom because I mean nowadays, like I said, it's really just a Poppy's Playtime level game. It really isn't nothing special. I think one of the biggest reasons why Help Wanted was so scary was because, unlike its previous 2D entries, VR allows the animatronics to loom over the player. So we're genuinely looking up at Freddy, because I mean, like, we have a VR headset, and obviously everything in VR is a little bit scarier or a little more scarier, but we actually see the genuine size of these animatronics, and it puts into perspective what these like security guards are generally going through on a day-to-day basis. I really don't understand why they keep coming back. Well, I mean, unless it's like Michael Afton, but even then, like, dude, why the fuck do you keep coming back and fucking with these robots that are like 6'5"? These motherfuckers are huge, fat, and massive and will part you in half. It creates a sense of vulnerability, and it honestly is terrifying. And we know Five Nights at Freddy's as a very audio cue and visual cue game. I mean, you have to be aware of all audios and all visual cues to stay alive, obviously. And this emphasizes it even more because you're genuinely immersed within the experience. You're inside of the experience. Pause. And then when you're in these game modes like parts and service, if you fuck up a little bit, and it's literally you genuinely moving your arm to the right a little bit too much, you will get jump scared and you will feel like an animatronic is lunging at you. Now, although the glitch trap mystery was fun in and of itself to uncover, a lot of people didn't really like the fact that the older games were kind of retconned in a way. And I spoke a little bit earlier on this on the channel. This game did introduce one of the biggest retcons in Five Nights at Freddy's history. It basically stated that all the previous games were made by a rogue developer in order to tarnish the Five Nights at Freddy's image, and that none of these games were actually true. But if you dig a little deeper, it basically states that these games were actually true, but they're basically off loose events of what genuinely happened within, the Five Nights at Freddy's actual timeline. And honestly, to this day, we don't even know what that really means because, I mean, do these games genuinely, like, bar for bar, word for word, copy exactly what happened in real world? Or are they just loosely based off events? We still don't know to this day. And that can be a little bit off-putting for OG fans because they're like, okay, so we spent years trying to solve your franchise, and now you're telling us that none of that actually genuinely happened. So that's one of the biggest harps on the game itself. I mean, as well as the flat mode, and I'm not really talking about the flat mode in here. I mean, the flat mode is what it is, but if you're gonna play flat mode VR, why not just play the actual games? I mean, unless you want 3D models, but I mean, whatever, bro. Like, we're not talking about the flat mode here. And then to end this off, I think that it wouldn't be right without mentioning its sequel. Yes, there was a Help Wanted sequel, and the sequel compared to the original isn't as well received. While the sequel is praised for expanded minigames and improved VR2 features, some critics feel that the first game remained scarier because it focused more heavily on pure horror, whereas the second game leaned more slightly towards like fun interactive puzzles. And I couldn't agree more. I think that Five Nights at Freddy started pivoting towards more or less children, and I think the original one was more for us OG fans that really wanted to see the original games in VR. Now, enough dick riding of Five Nights at Freddy's. We're now going to go into the worst rated Five Nights at Freddy's game of all time. No, it is not Secret of the Mimic. No, it is not FNAF World. No, it is not. I was about to say Secret of the Mimic again. No, it is not Security Breach. This game actually got shut down back in 2024. That's how bad it was. Drum roll, please. I'm not adding a drum roll, but we are talking about none other than Five Nights at Freddy's AR Special Delivery, released back in 2019. Now, initially, this game was not that bad received. I mean, fans began with high praise for its innovative use of technology, and it eventually, after that, just became one of the lowest rated entries, and like I said, was officially shut down back in March 14, 2024. But how did it get to that point? Before we go on that rundown, let me explain to you how this game kind of works. Basically, it used a GPS and camera functionality to simulate animatronics visiting your real world location. I mean, you would have encounters where players had to track invisible animatronics using static on their phone screen and use the flashlight and shocker to defend themselves. Then there was the haywire mechanic where animatronics would occasionally haywire quote unquote, requiring the player to either maintain or break eye contact based on the color of their eyes to avoid a jump scare. Then you had the workshop where players could collect remnant, plush suits, and CPUs to build their own animatronic and send them to your friends' maps to attack them for rewards. The reason why that this game failed is because of its aggressive monetization. This game is a mobile exclusive, and we know that mobile games, especially nowadays, are very heavily monetized. They're very heavily pushing towards, online monetization, online game transactions, right? And critics and users frequently describe that the game is pay to win. Many core characters and event specific skins were difficult to obtain without spending fast coins, which required real money. There was also some technical issues that pushed some people off, as this game was notorious for frequent crashes and bugs that were never fully resolved, leading to a broken experience for many. And overall, this game was just very repetitive. I mean, it wasn't really something that kept people playing. Updates eventually shifted away from new characters toward a heavy focus on skins, which was cosmetic variations of existing animatronics. And obviously, if they were to make new animatronics on a day to day, week to week, or month to month basis, it would keep more people coming back. But if they're just making new skins for animatronics that we already know about, it doesn't really keep many people hooked. And this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. It felt like it lacked meaningful new gameplay. There was also some lore drops within the game. Some players were frustrated by the lore being delivered through an in-game emo system that was easy to miss or occasionally glitched, making the story feel secondary to the grind. Honestly, I don't think anybody was focused too much on the FNAF AR lore, other than the fact that it included Remnant, which kind of like solidified Remnant as something part of the series. If we look at it now, its current status as of 2026, it's permanently unplayable and it's unavailable on the app, obviously since it's been shut down for 2 years now. I mean, nobody's really asking for this game to come back. It's the worst rated FNAF game in all time. And I don't even see many people talk about this game like ever. But yeah, guys, that is the worst Five Nights at Freddy's game in Five Nights at Freddy's history. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe, and make sure you guys comment down below what is your favorite Five Nights at Freddy's game and what is the worst Five Nights at Freddy's game in your opinion. Type out both and make sure you guys subscribe after doing that, or Glock Osama. I don't know. I'm gonna be under your bed tonight.